New since 5, Tri-State leaders gain valuable information to take home to their communities. This after hearing fresh perspectives about leading rural communities.
It's all part of an annual two-day conference where leaders from 43 Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri counties partner up to improve economic development in their towns.
WGEM's Claire Edlund was there in Burlington for a closer look at some of the key issues.
Daniel and Raja, we are now in day 2 of the Tri-State Development Summit. Some key topics discussed today were economic development, transportation, and community engagement, and more.
To remind us that rural development, it's not about statistics. It's about improving the quality of life for everyone who calls this region home.
The Tri-State Development Summit is an opportunity to put on those thinking caps.
But maybe we'll just get everybody in one room, one time, to establish a common agenda.
And join an agenda packed to the brim with topics that tackle the all too common struggles tri-state rural communities are faced with, turning those issues into opportunities. That's where one big theme in this year's summit, community engagement, comes into play.
Do community development. So when you help the Boy Scouts, you support the local symphony, the community theater, the art center, whatever, our education, you're building economic development.
Quincy's former mayor, Chuck Schultz, who earned this year's Tri-State Development Award, says shared struggles are what initially brought these rural communities together.
We found out during the flood of '93, it doesn't separate us, it brings us together.
Iowa Congresswoman Marinette Miller Meeks came forward to talk about her approach to making Southeast Iowa housing more affordable.
And trying to combat the record inflation, so working to have pro-growth economic policies that will help to grow the economy, increase wages, but also bring down that interest rate so people can afford rent, they can afford to sell a house or buy a house.
Meanwhile, a panel of transportation officials discussed future plans in the making, like bringing an Amtrak to Hannibal and the upcoming 2025 design plan for Quincy's Memorial Bridge.
So it'll be interesting to see how it comes out with the planning.
In Burlington, Claire Edlund, WGEM News.
Well, other sessions focused on workforce recruitment strategies, childcare solutions, and artificial intelligence.